Hello, it's Thursday, June 6th, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and this is Higher Ed Live, Advancement Live. I'm your host, Cameron Hall, Director of Annual Giving at Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois. And it is a beautiful sunny day here on the mighty Mississippi River. We're on the only place where the Mississippi flows not north to south, but east to west on the Quad Cities of Illinois and Iowa. Today, we're going to be discussing Giving Days and why partnerships matter. Advancement Live is a part of the Higher Ed Live network. All of our episodes offer you direct access to the best and brightest minds in education. Be a part of today's live broadcast by sharing your knowledge and participate in today's discussion by tweeting using hashtag HigherEdLive. Today's live broadcast is powered by Platform Q, Education's Conduit, online engagement platform. Learn how to integrate continuous online engagement into your marketing and enrollment plans using Conduit. Visit platformedu, that's platformqedu.com. All of our episodes are recorded and they're free and easy to access in the video archives at higheredlive.com, or take Higher Ed Live with you on the go by subscribing to the podcast wherever you find your podcasts. Higher Ed Live is produced by M. Stoner, a digital-first agency committed to tailor solutions that drive real results. And M. Stoner has made all of their on-demand courses in advanced marketing for higher education, websites, digital marketing for higher education, and digital storytelling for higher education available in a 3-course bundle. You can access M. Stoner's top-rated on-demand content of courses, which is a 19 hours of development, of professional development for a year-long, 23 sessions, and your team can walk away with concrete strategies and tips to improve your web, marketing, and digital storytelling efforts immediately. This offer expires July 8th, 2019, and we'll be tweeting out the link shortly with more information. As we get started today talking about Giving Days and why partnerships matter, I'd like to introduce today's guest. And we have the team from Augustana College with us today. First up, we have Keri Rursch. Hi, Keri.
Hello.
Keri started at Augustana College in 2011, and she initially served as the college's Director of Public Relations. In August of 2014, Keri was then promoted to Executive Director of Public Relations, Communications, and Marketing. And she now serves as the Assistant Vice President of Communications and Marketing. It is in this role that Keri is responsible for managing the Office of Communication and Marketing, but she's also responsible for the implementation of the college's strategic efforts to support the visibility and reputation, with a specific focus or significant focus on both admissions and advancement. Keri has her bachelor's degree from Illinois State University, and she has more than 16 years of communications for a financial services firm. Keri, is there anything outside of your bio that you would like for us to know?
No, I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you so much, Keri. We also have with us Ken Brill, and Ken is also an Augustana alum. Ken serves Augustana College as the Associate Dean and Vice President of Student Life. He is responsible for the departmental areas consisting of student life, leadership and engagement, campus recreation, multicultural programming, orientation, and Greek life. He holds a bachelor's degree in religion and political science from Augustana College, and Ken has his master's degree in student development in post-secondary education from the University of Iowa. Ken has been actively involved in the NACA through volunteer leadership opportunities at regional and national levels since 1986, and he is a past chair of the NACA Board of Directors. Ken has written for the Campus Activities Programming magazine and AFA's Perspectives. He is a recipient of the NACA Ileana Region's Janet Carl Smith Award and was recently inducted into the NACA Mid-America Hall of Fame. He is also affiliated with the ACPA, College Students Educators International, the National Association of Personnel Administrators, Association of Fraternity Advisors, and the National Orientation Directors Association. And on top of all of that, Ken also serves Augustana in a dual role as an advancement associate, where he manages a small portfolio of donors for the college. Ken, you do quite a lot for Augustana. Is there anything outside of your bio that you would like to mention?
I don't think so. But as Keri mentioned, I am thrilled to be here and look forward to our conversation today.
Awesome, and we're glad to have you. And since I'm a guest host today, I thought I'd also give a brief introduction of myself. I'm Cameron Hall, and I serve Augustana College as the Director of Annual Giving, where I lead a small team that is responsible for providing the oversight of the college's strategic fundraising and engagement, with special attention to direct marketing, digital marketing, and telemarketing. I also oversee one of our largest volunteer groups for the college, which is our class representatives. Prior to working with Augustana College, I began my career at the University of Montevallo, which is also my alma mater and Alabama's only public liberal arts institution. As the call center manager of the annual fund, there I was able to significantly increase the university's number of new donors by 10 times the amount that they had received in the year previous to my work with them. And from there, I went on to serve as the Assistant Director of Annual Giving Programs at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, where my work involved telemarketing and student philanthropy programs. There I was a part of the Alumni Engagement Department, and I worked with the Assistant Director of Young Alumni and Student Programs to develop our Student Philanthropy Committee there, which focused on student giving. I obtained my Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from the University of Montevallo, and I have more than 6 years of advancement marketing experience and more than 7 years of nonprofit and volunteer management experience. And we're all glad to be here with you all today as we go through Giving Days, a hot topic in the advancement world where there's really a lot going on. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are wondering, what can small schools do to really make a way in this space? And Augustana, over the course of the last 6 years, has done a lot of work here. So we will go into a little bit of detail about what we did in A Day of Giving 2019, and that's the name of our Day of Giving, A as in the Augustana A, Day of Giving. And I was wondering if Keri would be able to give us a little insight into some of our previous A Day of Giving campaigns, since she's had the most work with this campaign at Augustana prior to my work as Director of Annual Giving.
Thank you, Cameron. I'd be happy to do that. Augustana's first online Day of Giving was either in 2013 or 2014. And I think in and of itself, that says something, how much we put into it, because we don't remember exactly which year it was. I'm leaning towards 2015, or 2014, I mean. And what we did that year was very small scale and really an attempt to just engage young alumni. I think we might have been a little short-sighted. We started a campaign at midnight. And shortly thereafter, our website went down that night. That doesn't normally happen, and it had nothing to do with A Day of Giving, but it might tell you a little bit about how the rest of those 24 hours went. The Director of Communication and the Director of Annual Giving were the two people most connected to that campaign, and really about the only two people working on it, which again is very different from where we are now, where a whole team of people work on it. But those two individuals, I'm fairly sure, didn't sleep a wink that night, and were very groggy the next day when we brought in a few $1,000s. We didn't consider it a failure. We did learn a lot from it, and we did it again the next year. By that time, we raised a little more money, but we really still remained focused just on young alumni. I have to admit, I think there was some thinking at that point that just young people use the internet or social media, which is almost embarrassing to say, but you know, it was a few years ago. In the third year, we were to the point where we were picking a theme and we were experiencing a little more success. And by either the third or fourth year, we were getting those challenge grants in, which really kind of turned the tide for us and helped us see how we could make more of this day and get more engagement. I think it was in the fourth year, but maybe it was the third year, Cameron, you can let me know, when we actually used a crowdfunding platform. And that really changed everything, and everything in good ways. We struggled with it a bit, and I'm sure Cameron will mention that. But for the most part, it really did help us turn a corner. Every year, we have learned. I think we are a great example of continuous improvement. We take every win and every loss over these last 6 or 7 years as a chance to learn, as a chance to grow, as a chance to get better, as a chance to fail fast if we're going to fail and move on. And we have really learned a lot. And I want to think that we hit our stride this year. We are a small place. We don't have large budgets and we don't have large teams, but we bring everyone together to really rally around this one day. And we have found a good degree of success in this last year. Now, before I quit talking about our history, I do think I need to mention that last year we did experience a little dip. And I think that happens to everybody. And for us, and in our continuous improvement mindset, that was just more of a challenge. It was just more of a reason for us to rebound, to organize, to look back at what worked and proceed. And so the exciting part is that we can tell you about the success that we experienced this last April.
Exactly. And like Keri mentioned, we've done a lot around Adm Giving, and it was that fourth year where we brought in the crowdfunding platform. And I think that was the next time that we actually ended up breaking our giving form. But it was because of a good reason. That fourth year, we had so many gifts that the processor that we were using was not able to keep up with us. And so it crashed, and we had to reassess for just a few moments until they were able to catch up with us, and we hopped right back in. But Keri, I think we've done just about everything, right? We've done regional events all around the country for Days of Giving. I think Augustana did a giving day where gifts were made in honor of professors and family members. Is that correct?
Yeah, I like to say we've tried it all. In our 7 years of doing this, we've given away donuts. We've given away locally made ice cream. We've hosted parties on campus, in our community, in the communities where our alumni live, and in their own homes. We gave away party planning kits one year. We've used GoPros and Facebook Live. We've showcased our most well-known faculty and our most well-known buildings on campus. We've used photos and videos effectively, and maybe even a couple times ineffectively. But overall, we have just continued to improve and try new things each and every year.
Exactly. And about 3 years ago, that's when we really started to see the uptick with Days of Giving at Augustana. And to give everyone sort of a background of what caused that change, it was right around that time that advancement actually merged into the same division that communication marketing is in now. And so we're now one huge division of external relations, including, and Keri, you might know more than this than I, admissions, financial aid, communications and marketing, and now advancements, all reporting under one umbrella, which sort of expanded our reach, helped us think more strategically, but also broaden those collaborations and partnerships that we've had, and especially between communications and marketing and advancement. Keri, is there anything that you'd like to highlight about the partnership and how that has developed more over time with specifically advancement in communication marketing?
I do think it's developed over time, and I think we're in a much stronger position than we were in those early A Day of Giving years. I would say that the biggest reason for that is that we have a shared VP or a shared boss. And so we have that shared direction that we're getting from the top, and that there's no room for confusion anymore. We all know that we're aligned to the same goals set by that one person. And I think that's been hugely effective for us and for our teams.
Awesome. Well, as we talk about Adm Giving 2019, Keri mentioned that we did a few different themes in the past, and this year we did the public launch of our $125 million comprehensive campaign for the college called Augustana Now. And so we decided to tie Adm Giving to Augustana Now by using the theme, "The time is now." And so when we think about what Adm Giving is for us at Augustana College, A Day of Giving is Augustana's biggest and most fun fundraising event of the year, where the entire Augustana community rallies together to show their pride for the Augustana community through generosity. But this year, we decided to take A Day of Giving one step further. As we're a small school and we have a very attentive alumni base and parents base and friends base. And so we decided to make A Day of Giving a campaign about appreciation for our most loyal Vikings. And Keri, that sort of brought in your first idea for the Thank You Mobile. Would you like to give us a little information about the Thank You Mobile, how that became inspired, and what was sort of the process behind it?
I think the Thank You Mobile was kind of the centerpiece of this year's A Day of Giving. And if you want to know what the Thank You Mobile was, think Publishers Clearinghouse. We took our president and a few other really important people on campus, as well as a couple of students, out to alumni to thank them for their gifts to the college, whether those are monetary gifts or their gifts of time and service. But we surprised them with a lot of thanks and a lot of appreciation. And that served as a centerpiece for all of our communication and really turned it from being simply about giving, but really about the impact and the gratitude that we feel for our donors. And it was a lot of fun, and it gave us a lot of opportunities to really do things differently. I think just that focus on appreciation was different. But I think it also allowed us to get our president involved in a way that he wasn't involved really ever, but most especially last year. We did not have enough involvement from our president last year. And so this year, him having that big role gave him a reason to buy into a greater degree, but really moreover just showed his leadership and his support for this effort and for all fundraising and his gratefulness to donors.
It was truly awesome to see that I think we did 4 of these, 2 locally, and then on the day of A Day of Giving, we sort of had the Thank You Mobile head from the Quad Cities to Chicago, which is about a 2.5, 3-hour drive. But he made a stop along the way, and the final destination was at our Day of Giving events in Chicago. And each one of these, like Keri mentioned, was really our most loyal Viking, the president, getting to greet our other loyal Vikings. And I thought it was an awesome idea, and it was so cool to watch these happening. On the slide, if you see the image to the right-hand side of the screen, I actually got to participate in that one. And when we arrived, those are 2 of our alumni who have been longtime supporters. And one of them is a class representative who, for every year, she has always handwritten notes to every donor of her class as they make their gifts throughout the year, which is phenomenal. But when we arrived at their house, they surprised us and slammed the door in our face because they already had company. And then he went in and got his wife and came back out to show her the surprise. And so it was an awesome day, and they were so thrilled to see that. If you'd like to see those videos, they are on Augustana College's YouTube page, I believe. If you type Augustana College and go to Thank You Mobile, and you'll see those awesome experiences. Also, as a part of A Day of Giving, we set a pretty high goal this year. This was the first year for A Day of Giving where our goal was only donor specific. Like Keri mentioned, in past years, we had done a lot of focus on a lot of different things. Most of our campaigns had both donor goals and dollar goals. This was the first year we really took an assessment and said, do we really want to focus on both of those? How can we really focus on both of those? In our last A Day of Giving 2018, we noticed that once we reach a certain dollar amount, that's when our campaign began to sputter. A lot of our donors saw that we had already raised over $400,000, $350,000, and really the campaign came to almost a halt. And so we decided this year to make our goal 1860 donors in 1860 minutes in honor of the college's founding year in 1860. And this was an awesome way to get a lot of buy-in from all of our constituencies on campus, but really got them invested. But as we look at how this performed, and we go to performance year over year, you can sort of see where we were 4 years ago. In 2016, the goal was 400 donors. We surpassed it with 421 donors. In 2017, we set a pretty high goal of 1,860 donors, but we really put a lot of the focus on the dollar amount, and we really came to a halt at 1,100 donors, around 1,100 donors. The second year, we also put more focus on the dollar goal, and we had a goal of 1,500 donors, but we really only finished at about 1,200. But in 2019, we set only a donor goal, 1,860 minutes, and we were able to get 2,160 donors in that campaign time, which was phenomenal for us. That's the largest amount of donors that we have ever seen for an A Day of Giving campaign. And we really, it was really because of the driving force was the time and the donor focus, putting all of our focus on driving those donors. Keri, is there any way that you think that having that eased our communications efforts and what the actual day was about?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of ways it eased our communication efforts. And I think the first thing to state, and is probably obvious to everyone in communication, is that people need one call to action. And they need to have one main message in this case. And it wasn't about give this certain amount to help us reach this dollar goal. It was simply give any amount, and you will help us reach our goal. I think that's the second part, is that it allowed a lot of people to feel that they could make an impact in helping us reach our goal, because a gift of any size matters. And we know, especially for our youngest alumni, that they need to know that their $5, $10, $20, or $50 gift really will make a difference. And we made a point of saying that and ensuring that our messages made everyone feel that they could make an impact. So those are the two main ways. I think it just made our messaging clearer, because we didn't have competing messages, but also that it really made everyone feel included and that they could have a role.
Awesome. And like I mentioned, in past years, we also had a dollar goal. You can see in 2016, we had a dollar goal of 38,000. We well surpassed it with 76,000. But in 2017, this is when we were asked to really revamp A Day of Giving and include regional events and to take A Day of Giving to the next level. And so we set a goal of $250,000. And we worked with our gift officers to secure some pretty significant challenge gifts for the day and matching gifts for the day. And we closed with $290,000, nearly $40,000 above what our goal was that year. In 2018, we sort of set our eye high. And although we had a significant amount of challenge dollars and challenge donors, we sort of sputtered out at right around 334. We don't consider it a loss. We learned a lot from it. It was still an increase over where we were in 2017. But look where we were in 2019, where we didn't set a dollar goal. We finished with $424,000. And so our dollars did not suffer, at least in 2019, by setting a strong donor goal and reinforcing that every gift does make a difference. As we look at who our donors were for A Day of Giving 2019, we can see that roughly 490 of those donors made their first gift to the college. 1,500 of those were alumni donors. 133 gifts were made by our parent population. 387 donors were students, and this is thanks to Ken Brill and his efforts, who we'll bring into the conversation in just a few moments. And 291 of our gifts were made from employees, and one donor was a prospective student who just so happened to be on campus that day for a tour and saw Ken Brill and his students' events on our lower quad and decided to participate with the gift that, quite frankly, was higher than some of the gifts that our students made, which was awesome. And so when we think about how we did all of this in 2019, we really took an approach with really partnering with our campus partners. We have a fairly small annual giving team at Augustana College and a small team, as do most of our offices at Augustana. We do mighty work with a small squad. And so we decided this year that we would do a lot of partnership. And so we had three unique components of our campaign this year. The first being the Battle of the Buildings, which was carried out actually by employees of the college. We identified building captains for each of the buildings on campus, and they were responsible for soliciting their buildings, spreading the message about Adm Giving and about giving to the college and what that means, and really spreading the word. We also had 2 regional events this year, and this was dwindling down from what we had done in 2017. In 2017, I think we had roughly 5 to 10 events around the country in LA, DC, Chicago, Peoria, a lot of our heavy market areas. This year, we really dwindled it down to our 2 most saturated areas here in the Quad Cities of Illinois and Iowa, and also in Chicago. And so we pitted those areas against each other in a competition to see who could raise the most at their events. But then we had the Lower Quad Takeover, and that was planned by Ken Brill and his student planning committee, which was phenomenal this year. And that was also something that we had taken on as an advancement staff in the previous year, partnering with admissions and communication marketing. And we thought that really we should partner with students who would be able to communicate with themselves about giving. And so that was sort of the change in 2019. And so here you can see some of the banners that our Battle of the Buildings winners received. The first, second, and third place winners, I believe, all got banners placed on their buildings that they can show off that they're the most engaged employees on campus. But they also received a small tchotchke of depending on what they won, they either got a tumbler or they got having some technical difficulties. They got a tumbler or they got sunglasses or a certificate to go to our coffee station on the campus. The Battle of the Brews was like I mentioned, a competition between Chicago and the Quad Cities. And the Quad Cities won. I'm thankful to be one of the representatives in the winning team, where we really allowed our donors to make a gift as sort of their entry into this event, where they can come, they can enjoy company. They had an opportunity to spin what we called our prize wheels, and they can get tchotchkes based on the prize wheels and really enjoy the day and enjoy each other's company in sort of a competition. At the Quad Cities event, we would periodically check in with the Chicago event to see where they were donors-wise, and we would make brief announcements as to who was in the lead and who was not. This was in partnership with our Alumni Relations Department, who really took on the brunt of planning these events and making sure that they were successful. And so we're very thankful that we have a strong relationship with Alumni Relations at Augustana. But then the most fun, or in my opinion, the most fun part of Adm Giving was the Lower Quad Takeover. Ken Brill, would you like to give us a little bit about the Lower Quad Takeover? What was sort of the process and planning, and really what convinced you to be a part of Adm Giving this year, and to really take on what we had tried on our own and really needed you and your team to be most successful with?
Sure. Thank you. I would say, in fall, Cameron and his staff met with me and talked about an opportunity that they thought we might be interested in. And I think they were hoping that we'd be interested in it. And it was quite honestly an easy sell. I myself have worked for Augustana for 34 years and love this place to death, and just saw lots and lots of opportunities. One of my responsibilities is some work on our strategic plan, And plank 2 of our strategic plan is integrative experiences, where we try to get different departments, different divisions to play together to make the best outcomes possible and create a position of success for our students. And I saw this as one of those opportunities. Typically the advancement office doesn't work with student affairs, at least at our size institution. And this was an opportunity for us to play together, to work together, and to try to build something great. So my challenge was going to be to sell it to students. That I think their mindset is, we already pay a lot of money to go to school here. Why would we start making contributions? But I really felt that this was an opportunity for them to have fun, to learn about themselves and some new skills, and learn a little bit more about the college, and also to feel a sense of service to Augustana. So what was mentioned earlier by, I think, Keri, with the focus of gratitude on this day, was carried out with students as well. One of the things that I brought up when I was trying to engage them was, many of you are seniors. Is there something at Augustana, a mentor, a faculty member, an advisor, a coach, an experience that you feel very grateful for, that you really feel that shaped who you are today, and that you think is going to make an impact in your life moving forward? A day of giving might be your opportunity to say thank you and to provide gratitude and have that sense of service to our community. So following the meeting, that initial meeting, I felt very strongly that our students, knowing our student leaders on campus, that they would be compelled to participate. And so I reached out to a group of 25 students that were a good, solid cross-section from athletics, performing arts, fraternity and sorority life, student organization leaders, multicultural student groups, etc., and invited the leadership of those groups to a meeting. And the idea was that I would share what the opportunity was and why it might be compelling for them to become involved, engaged, and ultimately lead the charge. And I was not surprised, I would say. Literally every single person in the room said, yes, I'm in. I think that early on, I'm a very optimistic person, so I was surprised that they saw this as a big challenge to getting students to donate, but they were up for the challenge, and we began to create a structure that we thought would help us to reach our goals. So during that initial meeting where I brainstormed a list of all kinds of students, some that I knew well, some that I didn't know very well. I knew I had to talk to them about why and what we accomplished that. Then we kind of outlined what the goals were for the day. And as Cameron indicated, our goal was 1860 donors, and it wasn't so much about the size of the gift as it was just getting people to give. And historically, we've always tried to think of initiatives to engage students through alumni relations, engage students in advancement. And quite frankly, students just have no idea the impact that advancement and our alumni have on their experience at Augustana. So one of the main goals that we wanted to create is just to create some knowledge out there of what makes this institution work. How does our community, the driving force isn't just tuition dollars. It is annual giving, and it's the gifts from alumni and friends of the college. And how does that, track back to you as a student? And during that initial meeting, I actually started to share, is there anybody? We have one of our programs is Close the Gap, and there just happened to be 2 student leaders in the room that are able to be at Augustana because of that one program that is an advancement initiative. Financial aid initiative that helps great students have an Augustana experience. So, immediately there was some talk early on in our meetings with, wow, Augustana, has done some things, and, I should be more cognizant of that and how it works. And I should share that story with others because I probably haven't done that well enough since I've been here at Augustana. So with a team of 21, we got together And we created two teams. One was the program team. How do we create an experience that's going to be engaging for students, a wow experience? The students are going to be like, I'm going there because it sounds like fun. And two, what are some incentives that we can, so we make sure that we've invited and included all the different populations at Augustana. So we kind of started thinking about, from an athletic perspective, what's happening beyond athletics to support athletics. And from a performing arts perspective, what's going on to support performing arts beyond, the performing arts faculty. It was funny. One of the things that we wanted to do in our program was have musicians and live performing artists throughout the day. And so, we thought we would start with the Augustana Choir and the theater department, and both of those participated. But one of the students on our lead team was in the Augustana Choir and actually asked Dr. Hurdy, the director, if she might have a moment at the beginning of choir. And essentially, Dr. Hurdy jumped in right after and said, "You're participating. This is what's going on. This has been my experience at Augustana College. This is a great opportunity for you to informally do something fun together." And so one of the groups that performed was the Augustana Choir, and they did "By the Mighty Mississippi," which is kind of our theme song. And they did it in a fun way that I have never seen it performed before. So that was, one of the connecting points. And our team was very diverse. So we wanted to make sure that we had student leaders on the team that were influencers, that could connect with various populations. The other thing that we needed to do is create competitions. So students love competitions. And so we created a series of different competitions. The Greek group that had the most donors would get a pizza party, that kind of thing. And the students brainstormed a variety of ideas. We too did spin the wheel. So every student donor would be able to spin the wheel and get some fun item. And many of those items were things that we already had in our office that were left over from other giveaways that we had at programs that we have launched throughout the academic year. I think that one of the things that I think was important was in engaging the team of leaders, was helping them to understand what they would get out of it themselves. And I said, essentially, I want you to have fun. And there's not a student that I know that doesn't like to have fun. I want them to feel like there's something to learn here. And I want them to be able to identify what it is that they might take away from the experience. And two, all of us feel good when we serve others. And I thought that this was an opportunity for all three of those things to happen. One of the great things that I enjoyed was watching this group of students that typically don't work together. So, they got to dig deep in teamwork, in collaboration, in communication. All those are skills that they were able to practice and hone through this 3-month experience, this journey that they did together. At different times, key people were busy and the ball was falling and somebody had to run and pick it up and run with it and take it to the next spot. And we saw a lot of that going on. A bunch of creative ideas. I stepped back and let them do the planning, and crazy things came up. And that ultimately I said yes to. I never would have dreamed a petting zoo would be a part of a day of giving, but there's a local vendor close that at a very reasonable price offers that. So we had llamas and goats and chickens and all kinds of animals on campus at a day of giving, and everybody loves a petting zoo, I guess. I've learned that they do. We've had our students that haven't done fundraising were able to solicit sponsorships through food vendors, and that was a win-win for us. Just a number of things, number of outcomes that we didn't know getting into it. We might have had a hunch, but we ultimately experienced. So there was a lot of mojo throughout the day, a lot of excitement, a great day for our students, a great day for our community.
It truly was, Ken. And Ken is perhaps being a bit modest, but he actually helped us double the amount of student donations that we had in the previous Adm Giving. I think we had close to a little shy of 200, and this year, because of Ken and his students' efforts, we were just shy of 400 student donors to Augustana College, which for us is significant. I think roughly 100 or so of those were graduating seniors. And at Augustana College, we have a society specifically for loyal donors who give 3 or more years in a row. If a student gives before they graduate from Augustana, they're automatically enrolled in this loyalty circle, our loyalty society. And so we've got 300 fresh faces that are now in Augustana's loyalty circle who will get some benefits that other students won't just because they made a small gift to the college, which was phenomenal. But also, Ken, this year, really, you challenged me to consider some of the things that we had done for Adm Giving in the past. Adm Giving, in my role as Director of Annual Giving here, I'm really the annual fund officer. And so my mind is always stuck on what are we doing to progress our goal towards the annual fund. And so Adm Giving has typically been an annual fund campaign. This year, we decided to offer up where donors could give to the area of their passion. And that helped us by a lot, especially with our students. We saw students give to their Greek Leadership Academic Awards. We saw students give to Diversity Office, the Office of Student Life, and really wherever they had their passion. And we also saw our alumni do the same. But we experienced on the back end that our annual fund still didn't suffer. Majority of our donors who wanted to make their gift and wanted to make it to the area of greatest need still did so, which was phenomenal. And we also learned from Ken that we might need to reconsider a crucial part about Adm Giving, which is our Augustana socks. And we'll talk about those Augustana socks in just a moment. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about the Lower Quad takeover, Ken?
Just there's tremendous enthusiasm on the, once the students started brainstorming and getting ideas, just the idea of the Lower Quad takeover, that theme that kind of evolved, was the students getting excited about the event and how they wanted that event to be experienced by other students.
It was awesome. On this next slide, we had some video footage of students and faculty who attended the Lower Quad takeover who showed why they support Augustana. And we were surprised to hear that most of our students actually gave and got the message that it's really because they believe in this place. What else did we do for Augustana College? Each year for Adm Giving at Augustana College, we have Augie socks. And normally we only do one pair of socks that are only available at Adm Giving. You can't get Augustana socks really any other place on our campus outside of Adm Giving. And so this year we did two things. We had 3 pairs of socks, 3 new editions of Augustana socks. This was our 3rd year doing this, of having Augustana socks. But also we, in looking at IRS standards and working with our controller's office and our donor relations office and advancement services office, we learned that because these socks were branded in Augustana with Augustana's logo, that we could lower the minimum donation required from our socks from $60, which used to be in honor of Augustana's founding year, to $25, which was a better buy-in point for our young alumni, our students, our faculty and staff. And so they got an option to choose from these 3 pairs of socks that Keri and her team really did the design on. I think the 4th edition was a design that we held from Adm Giving 2018. And the 5th and 3rd edition socks were socks that were created this year for Augustana by our graphic design team. And these were pretty awesome. I think we've had very varied reviews, but it seems the top two favorites became first the Viking sock, which we were sort of hesitant about, but then a lot of people really loved that Argyle sock. And I have heard, Keri, you may want to relay this to our graphic design team, that there's a want for some houndstooth. So we may need to consider a houndstooth design for next year. But having that choice really allowed our donors to pick. And at all of our events for Adm Giving, we had these socks ready and available for anyone who made their early donation. And for our faculty and staff, if they participated in the Battle of the Buildings and made their gift prior to Adm Giving, we delivered their socks so that they could have those socks to wear for Adm Giving if they chose to do so. We also implemented a strong social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, even including text messaging this year. Keri, would you like to talk a bit about our social media strategy and what sort of drove that, how we strategically used social media posts that were not at all connected to Adm Giving, but on the back end were the driving force for Adm Giving? Keri, I don't think we can hear you.
How's this?
Thanks, man.
Let me try again. I think that is something that we did very differently and very strategically. We started about a month before a day of giving, looking at our social media platforms and thinking about what content we had that we could pull out, things that were current or things that had previously done well, but just things that we knew would resonate with those people that we were hoping would turn into donors on a day of giving. And so we really posted a little more frequently and really with an intention to remind people about the things they love about Augustana College. And so they got a lot of love in those weeks coming up to a day of giving, partly so that we would just be in their streams, but partly because we wanted to connect with their heartstrings and make sure that they felt all the love right before it was time to make a gift.
And we also had a couple of strategic posts that were planned and went out sort of ahead of time to around the socks for Adm Giving. Would you like to talk about some of the outcomes regarding the sort of digital ads and the digital strategy there?
We did several different digital ads and tried to showcase the socks in advance to build some excitement around those and get some early donors. So we didn't hold them back. If people were ready to buy, they could buy early, so to speak. And we saw good results. Based on percentage of change, I'm trying to look here. Our Facebook ads had a 428% ROI and a 5.58% conversion rate, which really shows that those were strong, relevant ads and that they were being targeted correctly. We know that we spent about $700 on those ads, and we got about 100,000 impressions out of them, 1,100 clicks, and the biggest and most important part, 64 donors through Facebook.
And that's awesome. In the past, we've dabbled with digital ads around Day of Giving. We've done live events on social media with varied success, and to see 64 donors come in through those channels, especially ahead of time, was awesome. Part of that drive was, we're not going to play it, but this video on the left-hand side of the screen, which I believe is also, I'm sorry, the right-hand side of the screen, which is also on our YouTube channel, I believe, was actually our first gift to Augustana College. And it was the song, My Name is King of Socks by, who's the author? They May Be Called Giant. And that was our first gift to the college, a $500 gift in kind for Adm Giving of that song that we were able to utilize in that video, and it really pushed our digital ad strategy. We used it there and to get those upticks. It's pretty awesome. If you haven't heard My Name is King of Socks. It's a pretty awesome song that tied right into our campaign. And we also utilized a teaser video in our email strategy and a little bit on social media too, that sort of teased our president preparing for the Thank You Mobile and prepping his route to Chicago. What else did we do for A Day of Giving? We really thought from the communication marketing standpoint and from the advancement strategy standpoint about our segmentation strategy. And we thought, how can we drive that strategy through email, mail, from texting and phone calls, and really what happened. And so in the past year, we decided to do a mail piece to our entire population that was just a postcard, sort of save the date. And we had varied success with that, sort of low success with that. But this year we decided to mail only our baby boomer population. And I know that slide is probably hard to read, but Keri and her team really were the driving force on prepping that piece. It was just a card size, what was it? 3.5 by 11, I believe, size card that we mailed to our baby boomer population so that they could participate in A Day of Giving. And one of our associate editors over in Keri's team did an awesome job in drafting the content for that tied 1860 to the year that Lincoln was elected and to other significant historical dates, but also showed that we really had a sense of pushing that 1860 was the goal for time and for dollars for this campaign. And we also allowed them to choose their socks ahead. So we mailed that piece roughly about a week before A Day of Giving. I think we received gifts from that mail piece probably up to 3 to 4 weeks after the campaign. So we continue to see those gifts trickle in for quite some time as a response to that piece. We also utilized a easy to use giving form this year. We partnered with our partners at Give Campus to use another crowdfunding source that really made giving easy. Our donors could come, they could make their gifts on bank draft or credit card. They can make recurring gifts. It was really easy for our donors to use. And because Keri and Ken took, and our faculty and staff took different pieces of the campaign, and alumni relations took events planning, the annual giving team was really set on focusing on how we could make giving as easy as possible. And this was one of those ways, utilizing Give Campus to sort of drive the donation form was huge for us. It was the first time in 2 years that because of volume, we did not break our giving form. Our donors were able to give and see their dollars matched in real time. And we also accepted cash gifts at all of our events, especially our student events. We were bringing in cash gifts from students pretty much all day. We just had a dedicated runner to go get the events from the Lower Quad takeover. But this year we did something slightly different, and we implemented an advancement office hotline for donors who wanted to call in. The initial plan was to sort of be our plan B if we crash the giving site by volume again, but it turned out to be sort of a opportunity for donors who wanted to give but didn't want to go online, didn't receive the mail piece, but they wanted to reach us. And so they could call our hotline and it would bounce to whichever person in the advancement office was available to assist them. And it was awesome to see that in effect as well. Keri, are there any other things from the marketing standpoint that you would like to highlight as far as outcomes and strategy, especially around email? We did some really good work around email segmentation this year.
I agree. The first thing I want to say, you have been very generous and kind in saying my name a lot, but most of the work that got done on the communication and marketing side was not me. It really is a whole team of people. And I just want to thank the group up here in this office that puts so much into A Day of Giving. I think to add to something you said earlier, I am proud of the way we really looked at segmentation this year. And think that your point in showing that print piece really showed how we thought about baby boomers and those older than baby boomers a little differently. But I think we also thought about Greek groups and parents and athletes and choir and band and non-donors differently than we had in the past. And we limited the number of emails that we sent, and we made sure that the emails we were sending were really focused on those segments and what they wanted to hear or what they needed to hear. And the same person wrote all of our emails, which I think was really important. They all had the same tone, which was a bit different than what we had seen in the past. It was much more playful and really set up for quick reading. In addition to that, and when you think about email, is that we all kind of pinky swore before we started the day. And we swore that we weren't going to just generate more email if we got nervous. And I think committing to building a plan and then committing to that plan really yielded us good results. It made us look confident. It made us look prepared. And I think it really resonated even better with our alumni and donors than it has in the past for that reason.
It really did. And we're getting close to time, but I did want to mention, not leave out our student segments, because Ken Brill and his students really handle all of the communications directly to students. And we were hands off in that communications. And so, Ken, do you want to take just a brief moment to talk about what was your students' plan for actually advertising the Lower Quad Takeover?
We had a couple of students that do marketing for student programs that were on the lead committee, and then we assigned a student that worked directly with your team, Camera, and with Keri's team to just make sure that our branding, our messaging were in line and in sync, and also to get some ideas about from the professionals on how our social media person could engage the student body in particular, but others as well. So there was a big focus on the look and the feel of the event in the Lower Quad from a marketing standpoint, the messaging that went out. The students did several emails in the week, 10 days leading up to a day of giving. And then there was a large social media presence as well from the students pushing stuff out.
Awesome. And really all of that really played to the success of Adm Giving. And these were just a few strategies that one small institution used to take a campaign that started with raising just a few $1,000s to becoming a campaign that raises close to $500,000 for an institution. And that success is in no small part to all of our campus partners. So we want to give a special thank you to our communication and marketing team, all of our editors, our web designers, our digital specialists, and everyone involved on that side. Like Keri mentioned, it is a team effort there. Also to Ken Brill and his students and taking the charge on our student philanthropy segment for A Day of Giving and really pushing that out. And we also want to thank our advancement team, because they were the ones who really went out, secured those challenge gifts. We had some pretty significant challenge gifts for A Day of Giving this year. But we also sort of had an internal battle of the fundraisers as they were seeing who could get the most out of their portfolios to give during the day. And our student advancement ambassadors, who were the ones facilitating the giving process at our Lower Quad Takeover. But really my assistant director of annual giving here at Augustana College was in no small part sort of a strong co-lead on pushing A Day of Giving, and I'm thankful for my team as well, and especially on the back end processing with our coordinator of annual giving as well. As we are right at time, I want to thank you again to everyone who signed into this and to those who will listen later or watch later. But we also want to thank our network producers at M. Stoner and the Higher Ed Live network for allowing myself, Ken, and Keri to come on today as guests to really talk about A Day of Giving and the benefits of strong partnership for Giving Day campaigns. This is Higher Ed Live, and remember, generosity matters. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.